You should eat a big bag of dicks.
If this whole beach was completely covered in dicks, and somebody said I'd eat every dick until the beach was clean for liberty, I would say no problemo.
My only question is, why is he always doing some edible gay shit in movies? This is not the first time.
You're being an asshole, all right? You know what I do with assholes? I lick them. Okay.
What?
He gets to go in there with his writer, make sure there's plenty of ass-licking lines, just so he can hit his quota for filthy things he's supposed to say.
You know what's missing here, man? Me eating dicks. Everybody's been eagerly anticipating that squad out there, the Suicide Squad, and the trailer, the eagerly anticipated, highly anticipated trailer is out right now for the Suicide Squad. And look at them. Oh, they look so happy before they all die horribly. But, this trailer says, it proudly says, from the horribly beautiful mind of James Gunn. Is it as horrible and as beautiful as it claims to be? How's it looking against that old squad out there? Is it truly any better? Let's go ahead and take a look. Is this another case just to get the release the Ayers cut of the Suicide Squad? Let's go ahead and take a look at this trailer that everybody has already seen. But let's look at it through our eyes and let's have a discussion for, again, the highly anticipated The Suicide Squad. We'll watch the trailer and come back with our opinions right after this.
What? We're here to save you.
You were gonna save me? Harley Quinn.
Bloodsport.
She's like, ooh, new black dude. Will Smith hit that shit, man. Yes, you said I was waiting on another one to come up.
I want to get you out of here alive.
I'm going to get you out of here alive.
And I'm gonna shit out of you too. Idris Elba's smooth, man. I love that they have him in here, man. I just have to say that. He's a lot cooler than I thought he would be from looking at reading everything about him and looking at the teaser, man. I love that he's in here.
We love the rain. It's like angels are splooching all over us.
So, looking at this, man, I just wanted to say some things first. Everybody, of course, is guessing. Since this is James Gunn, and we've seen how violent this is, everybody's trying to guess who's going to live, who's going to die. Because with James Gunn at the helm here, anybody could die at any moment. Now, that's not completely true. We already know that some people here, that they're not going anywhere. Harley Quinn, her ass ain't going nowhere, man. Harley Quinn's a staple of DC. She's a moneymaker. Fanboys love, they still jacking off to this. They give her more to do this time, where she truly is more of a badass, other than she's hilarious, man. But other than just being more of a, just somebody who looks sexy and makes a bunch of jokes. It's actually cool to see her actually go out there and start running and gunning and doing some badass stuff, man. But, let me pass it on to you, because we'll talk about some of these other characters in a little bit. How you feeling about this, man?
Feel pretty great. I think one thing that you saw right off the bat, and I think I even wrote this in the notes when I sent it over to you, is like, this trailer has all the James Gunn your little heart could desire, right? I think immediately you feel that very distinct stamp of what he does. And I think it's also really interesting that my big worry about this film was like, you can't just do Guardians again, right? Like he had struck gold by kind of doing a team dynamic there and being weird with it. Yeah, the Suicide Squad is weird, but they're not like one-to-one analogs for the Guardians, right? No. So I would say what they did right off the bat was kind of distinguish that it's its own thing. I think the R rating certainly helps as well. Like before we go into the finer details of it, I would say that I'm actually very, very excited about it. It seems like DC finally understands to like bring in your auteur and let them do what they do. Don't try to connect it or put a square peg in a round hole. Like, let's just let these people play with a big budget and do what they do best. I'm really excited about it. What's your initial reactions?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, my initial reactions are looking at it and looking at who are the highlights here and trying to guess who's going to last and who isn't, because that's the fun part of this. As I said, man, with this, the only thing I'm worried about, really, if there's anything I'm worried about with this at all, is Harley Quinn just about to get typecast as his character. Like, she's doing this character too well and doing it too much, and every time she does it, she gets better with that character, and she's going to end up doing this shit where, like, when Christopher Reeves was like, yeah, get out of here, you Superman. Yeah, I know you dramatic actor and all that. No, hell no, bitch, you Superman. That's what's going to happen to her. Hey, you Harley Quinn. You just play the role. You've played it too many times. You've played it too well, and you've gotten better at it with each movie. So yeah, that's the only thing I'm worried about with her. But she's great, and she really is getting better, man. And with every director that knows how to come in and take control of that character and knows how to use that character, she gets better. And James Gunn definitely knows. It feels like he really knows how this character should be played out. Like I said in the last movie, she was just there to be crazy and crack jokes. He's putting her to good use right here. Looking at some of the other characters though, there are highlights, and when those characters are highlighted here, they're going to be the main ones you probably focus on. And we like to think like maybe if they're the main ones, maybe they're going to survive the whole thing. John Cena as Peacemaker, man. The thing with him is that he's getting his own show at some point. It's going to be on HBO Max. I would say that he has a better chance of living than the others, though his series could be a prequel series, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do this whole thing where he's one of the big surprise deaths here, the one that gets people off guard, because everybody's looking at this and thinking like, oh shit, if he's getting his own series, well, he'll obviously make it. That could not be the case. I like how they're kind of they're keeping people guessing with that. Here, after seeing him here, it does make me want to see the character more in his own show. So if they do kill him, and do what you have to do to bring him back in his own thing, because I'm really beginning to like this character more. I think people who are not John Cena fans will be won over by him as Peacemaker.
And I've decided that you should eat a big bag of dicks.
If this whole beach was completely covered in dicks, and somebody said I'd eat every dick until the beach was clean for liberty, I would say no problemo.
My only question is, why is he always doing some edible gay shit in movies? This is not the first time. Do you remember Trainwreck? He's always talking about doing some gay eating body part shit.
Okay, Coco Beware. You know what? You're being an asshole, all right? You know what I do with assholes? I lick them. Okay.
What?
That's Trainwreck right there, man. Is he ad-libbing these lines, or is he adding these lines? Is he trying to tell us something?
Yeah, he's got script control. He gets to go in there with his writer, make sure there's plenty of ass-licking lines, just so he can hit his quota for filthy things he's supposed to say.
What's missing here, man? Me eating dicks. Make sure you put that in. It's like, fuck, he's big dude. I ain't gonna tell him no. He want to eat a bag of dicks, let him go ahead. Yeah, but I like him in this, man. That's one of the things I'm looking at here. Again, under a director with the right sense of humor, he can, because I know a lot of people still on the fence about John Cena. They're talking about, I don't know how, he's the same guy in every movie. He's funny, but that's because he's just playing off a type. He's just big and goofy. I really think this movie's gonna push him over into people really liking him as an actor more, because he does have a great sense of humor. He has a director who's able to bring that out.
Yeah, it's going to be a big year for him, right? Because you got the Fast and Furious movie coming out where he's supposed to be big. And no matter how you feel about those films, they're fucking phenomenons now. You can't ignore them, right? And he's going to be front and center. And then he's got this too, plus the prequel series. And it is a prequel. So, that doesn't necessarily mean he'll make it out of this. But I like to think he will. I think, back in the day, they would do test screenings and shit like that. And they would say, that character really pops. That character's popping on screen, So I think unless they, are purposely doing what you said, which is to try to fake out, give an emotional aspect to a death, I would say he's probably safe, right? Because it seems like DC understands this is going to be the franchise jumping off point that I think the Ayer cut wasn't. Mm-hmm. And let me ask you that question really quickly, man, just compared to the two, because lest we forget now, we've rewritten history. That first Suicide Squad Ayer trailer was great. We were all like, oh my God, they found their Guardians of the Galaxy. It's got funky 70s music, blah, 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 blah. And that ended up being terrible. So, I mean, I want to be careful, even though I trust James Gunn far more than David Ayer. I want to be careful not to be like, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a hit.
Yeah, there are a lot of similarities here between the David Ayer movie and what they're doing right here. But at the same time, it's James Gunn. So it's like they're kind of benefiting from both those things, man, because James Gunn, with what they're doing right here, we hear that they're using the Steely Dan song in this, which they put to great use, man. They always add the orchestration behind it and everything, but they did the same thing with Suicide Squad. I mean, Suicide Squad, let's admit it, man. I mean, without the music that they put in there, You know, without the nostalgic tunes that they put in there, that shit wouldn't be the same way, man. The Suicide Squad didn't sell the Suicide Squad. Freddie Mercury sold the Suicide Squad.
Is this the real life?
Let me out of here, Donald, please.
You bitch! You know, but at the same time, it was, you know, James Gunn's doing the same thing, man. You know, James Gunn was selling his trailers off nostalgic music.
Fear, jealousy.
So this is a situation where it's not really one or the other, but they're just in a good position to where they're kind of being able to cash in on both elements, James Gunn and what people remember best. Probably one of the few only things that were good about the first Suicide Squad, you know, being sold by the music. So yeah, man, I think this is smart marketing right here. Very smart marketing right here.
What I find really interesting about it is, have we had, and I'm sure there are examples, so please, Toasties, help me out, but have we had something that's been essentially a soft reboot, right? We have Rick Flag, we have Captain Boomerang, we have Harley Quinn, we have holdovers, Amanda Waller, right? Viola Davis is in this. So we have people who were in that first film. It has to sort of be acknowledged that it existed in some fashion, yet it feels completely different. I think that's insane whenever you can see a night and day sort of like, oh, it really comes down to a director's vision and their take. And everything about that trailer kind of screams out to you like, oh, yeah, this person had a very specific vision, down to how like the computers look, down to how everyone's dressed. Like, it seems very singularly James Gunn, where no disrespect to David Ayer, it just seemed like that was sort of put together by committee, and everything we've learned about the production afterwards would sort of, illuminate that for us. Man. So I'm trying to think, is there anything where we've had that like soft reboot that's a sequel, but also basically a reboot?
Well, I don't know about that. But what I will tell you is that I'm in that camp of people where David Ayer got fucked. I'm not going to make this a whole discussion about David Ayer because I know people want to hear about this Suicide Squad. But that last Suicide Squad movie, man, what's different here is that James Gunn is in this new era of DC where they're coming in and letting him do what he wants to do. And they're not sitting back and telling him all these notes. Look, you got to do this. You gotta do that. I scratch that. Fuck that. No, I know you the director, but we're putting the money in. No, you ain't doing that shit. Why? Because we have to make everything go to this scrapped together bullshit universe that we just threw together at the last minute. So all these directors before, you know, they had this roadmap to nothing. That just like it was a map that just went off a cliff. And James Gunn he's able to come in here. He's the guy that, you know, that after everything fucked up, he's the guy that comes in and say, okay, you were right. And he gets to like go in and like benefit from where other people messed up because of the studio. So I really feel bad for him in this situation. So I look at this, I don't even like to compare like, oh, fuck you, David Ayer, man. Yeah, look at that bullshit you did. It's like, nah, man, you were just wrong place, wrong time. The trailer sold the movie. The trailer actually sold the movie that we didn't even get because at the time they were still they weren't trying to be as humorous as they were edgy. You know, they were still trying to stick to like kind of that dark, edgy thing that they had going on at DC, saying this is what separates us from Marvel right now. You know, and it didn't feel like it captured the spirit of what the Suicide Squad could be, because that's what James Gunn is embracing here, man. James Gunn is embracing all the things that we want to see. I think in this, I'm so happy that they're taking some of the crazier characters that they couldn't do, or even if they did take them, they wouldn't make them as crazy as they are in here, because David Ayer did want to put King Shark in. And they were saying, it just doesn't look right. It looks too crazy for what we're trying to do. And James Gunn said, well, fuck, what we're doing is crazy here. Let's put a giant man-eating shark in here who looks like a man, you know, running around in goddamn jean shorts, eating people. And I think King Shark is absolutely adorable in this, man.
Nom nom.
Any questions?
You know, I like that he's still kind of childlike talking about num num. I think he's really cute, man. And I guess
that less cute. He just ripped that fucker up like a piece of bacon.
Oh yeah, you know, probably in a more psychotic, tearing a man in half kind of way. But also that's cool that they're able to embrace that, man. They're able to get kind of like King Shark is the one that's selling this R rating that we have here. Besides the curse, he's the one that's showing us how violent they can get with this. And at the same time, it's still getting across the humorous tone that they have going on. It's been confirmed, too, because a lot of people are wondering. You already know this. You put it in here, and everybody can tell. It's because a lot of people saying, that shark sounds like Sylvester Stallone. And that's who's doing the voice. I don't know why anybody even had that mixed up. Because once you hear the voice, you know that is, that's him.
And? Yes, that is your hand. Very good.
That wasn't even Stallone acting. They just took a real life recording of him.
I was going to say, he's actually more intelligible as this fucking shark. Because I remember in Guardians 2, there's that big emotional scene where he's yelling at Yondu or whatever. And every third word, maybe, unintelligible. He's like, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy is having perpetual strokes. And we're not doing anything to save this fucking icon of cinema.
Yeah, that is true. If that had been Sylvester Stallone looking at his hand right there and pointing out, he would have said, hey. but this shark is just as clear as day.
And?
Yes. That shark enunciated. You heard every word, every letter in there. I love that character, man. And there are moments when you look at this, and what I like about it is that, yeah, it's ridiculous, man. As I said, it's a shark wearing cut-off mom jeans, man. But they have moments in here where you see this shark walking with the rest of the squad. And when you look at it, let me see if I can find, because he blends in well, man. Like, he just fits in. He just fits into the background. Nobody's looking like, why is there a fucking giant-ass shark with pecs and biceps behind Idris Elba right here? It's like, right. It's like, wow, that shark blends in perfectly with the rest of the film, man. The tone they set up.
Which is interesting, right? Because you don't want to compare and contrast too much to Guardians, but obviously you got Rocket and you got Groot, and it seems like there is a Rocket Groot. There's definitely an analog between those characters, right? I think King Shark is supposed to be kind of the childlike Grootish character, and then you have Weasel from earlier in the trailer, who seems to fill the Rocket Raccoon void. You know what I'm saying? And the point that I'm making about both of them, like you said, is that they do seamlessly kind of fill into this world, which you think a giant CG shark would be this kind of distracting, glaring thing, and yet I don't know how he does it. All of his CG characters end up blending incredibly well.
Yeah. Like you said, the Weasel character and everything. All of this, like, I'm having no questions. I have no questions why there's a dude that throws polka dots at people. There's all of this is working. I'm not questioning why there's a shark sitting in a college course with the rest of these crazy ass people here. All of this works, man. I think that what they're doing here, the only thing I'm disappointed about is that they're not going to be able to reap the benefits because of what HBO is really doing. Like I told you, I'm glad that I don't have to go to the theater. I'm fine with that. I love getting these movies at home. But these movies, had they been coming out, King Kong or Godzilla versus King Kong, The Suicide Squad, those movies would have been massive hits at the theater. And I think
King Kong is opening to big numbers in China right now, by the way. So international box office, it seems like it's going to be a huge hit. So, I mean, that's comforting, and it's good to know that maybe things are returning. But I agree with you. It's like some of the stateside stuff is still going to suffer, including something like this. Although it's, 5 months away? So we have some time. But probably not enough time to get a 100% box office.
Yeah, this comes out in August. The only thing that I have to say about this, with that trailer, it's a great trailer, man. When they did the teaser back in the day, that teaser was great. When they introduced all of the Suicide Squad, all of the marketing that they're doing with this is exactly how it should be. The only bad thing I have to say about this trailer is that maybe, and once we see the movie, it might not even make any difference. But once we see the movie, it might make sense. But right now, it looks like they're giving away a lot. It looks like they're showing maybe slightly too much. They showed you who the villain is in the movie. I don't know if you're familiar. Did you notice this? Because I'm not too familiar with the villain that they showed here, but I remember people were talking about this villain a long time ago.
Well, who I saw was Thinker, Peter Capaldi, the guy who played Doctor Who. I know he's like villainous, but is he the bad guy in the film?
Nah, man. This is where it's gonna get you. You thought the shit was weird already. You thought a weasel licking glass and a shark.
And a John Cena licking ass.
And John Cena licking ass.
I had to make that rhyme happen.
We got a weasel licking glass. We got a John Cena eating dick, and we got a shark wearing some booty shorts. So the villain in this is a big ass starfish named Starro, who was one of the earliest villains of the Justice League and went on to like one of his children or something went on to be a hero. I don't know the whole story behind it, but if you look in the background, like they just like if you know the comics, so maybe it's different if you don't know the comics, but even then it would be kind of cool if people didn't know what to expect and like if you ask somebody, so how was the movie? Man, it was great. And then at the end, they fought a big ass starfish. You just have to see it. They show you right here. They hold no surprises.
Tied you up in this shit.
So people, and I think they did it because people back in the day, I think Warner Brothers just said, DC said, you know what? Well, fuck it, because these nerds figured it out a long time ago. They was. Y'all are good. I ain't even talking bad about these nerds. You blow my mind with this shit, man. So they went in and they got the computer monitor right up to their faces and they were able to go in and see shit. I'm gonna tell you, I would never see this. Even if I knew this character, I would never see this in a million years. They went deep to where they looked in the background behind. They saw a little bit of pink that looked like bubble gum behind somebody's jacket, about the size of my thumbnail, and said, yep, that's that goddamn starfish. And a lot of people are saying that could be anything. And here we are.
Tied you up in this shit.
Like you see him in the background, clear as day right there. So I don't know. But people predicted this months ago. That was going to be the villain. I'm impressed. I almost want to give your ass a round of applause, man, because I thought like, they might be trying to throw you off. They might be trying to throw you off here, but yeah, looks like they're fighting a fucking giant jarfish that looks a starfish that looks like a bowl of Fruity Pebbles back there. So.
Yeah, the
cool.
internet's undefeated. I mean, very quickly, I remember when Watchmen came out, there's a big twist in the Watchmen series, and they guessed it based on looking at a knuckle of Dr. Manhattan or something. And I was like, I don't know how the fucking internet does anything. Y'all are incredible. But let me ask you something. Do you think that I guess they couldn't do that as an opening scene, right? Because they have to sort of establish the squad or whatever. But I wonder if they're going to do that, because this is almost a thing where like the team dynamic, you don't need an actual fleshed out villain. So you could go with just this cataclysmic fucking starfish thing if you wanted to, and it doesn't really hurt the movie.
From what I hear, that's a smart ass starfish. I don't know. I mean, the starfish actually is intelligent. It comes over and it brings what it does and what people saw. The starfish comes down and he brings other starfish and they attach themselves to people's faces, like you see right here, like these people saw, and they take over their minds. And so this starfish was planning on taking over, taking over Earth with little starfish children or whatever. So from now again, anything could be changed, but I hear that the starfish is a big villain. It's a long time running villain, and it's a smart starfish. And so there could be something else that's going on. He's not like Godzilla, the Godzilla of sea creatures. It's a starfish that's just attacking the city, and he's just a force of nature. So who knows, man? That's a good idea. I mean, that's a good question, because you don't know how they're changing things around in these movies all the time. And plus, with them showing so much, I wouldn't be surprised if they did have a secret villain, just to throw people off with this starfish right here. They got the right idea. This movie's a template in the best way. Mm-hmm. That's all they did was say, just take Guardians of the Galaxy, put them on Earth, make it rated R, and you got it. Like you said, King Shark is Groot. That fucking Weasel is probably going to be Rocket Raccoon. I mean, and I don't blame them. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Idris Elba is Will Smith. Will Smith was not in the Guardians of the Galaxy, but they just, they're just replacing little things here and there. They knew that the thing with the first Suicide Squad is that it was just a poorly put together movie where they were just trying to push all kind of things. They're trying to push universe, and plus they were trying to push the Joker in this way too much. They just added these Joker scenes that had nothing to do with anything. But there are some parts in there where could it have worked if they had actually written a better script? Yeah, I don't think it was that terrible to where this whole thing was just a complete loss. It was just a movie put together by committee, and it was just a combination of just a lot of things that didn't fit together.
I would say that you look at this trailer and you look at what we just watched with Justice League, and it does seem like two completely different visions. I know this might be people just making up stories, but there is some legit chatter that WB is like, what do we do with a Snyder Cut's a hit? Do we make a Snyderverse on HBO Max? Do we do this? Do we do that? It's like, I would ask you, do you feel even more emboldened by DC's decision to kind of give it over to auteurs and let them do their thing, seeing like what James Gunn is doing with it? Or do you think that there's any temptation to walk back down Zack Snyder Boulevard with that sort of tone?
Oh man, leave that goddamn Zack Snyder thing alone, man. Let's look. You're giving these people autonomy over their own movies, man. They're coming in and they're doing these great things. You know, you got. I might not like all of them, but you want to take a track record. Aquaman was a success because they let somebody come in and do what they want to do. Shazam, stood on his own.
Sam. Yeah.
Joker, you know, these are all things that could they connect at some point, some kind of way. If you want to pull some multiverse bullshit, yeah, sure. But really, let's be honest. They're individual movies that nobody's trying to think about how they fit together. They just let people come in and do what they want to do, and now they're doing that with the Suicide Squad. Stop trying to look. If you got the money and you got the space, if you got something on HBO Max where you know there's some real estate where you can put all of these Zack Snyder movies and you want to do that, that's fine. And if there's a demand for it, cool, do it. But you know, let's not try to force things again, man. You know, Zack Snyder put it together. There was some hype behind it, and they did it. Cool. Let's move forward, man. If it's working, let's keep doing what's working. Let's stop trying to revisit all this shit. As much as I want them to even go and give this man a chance to prove himself again with this Ayers cut, this Suicide Squad Ayers cut. Again, let's not look at something that worked one time with this Justice League Snyder cut and move backwards on that, man. You know, let's not start this trend right here.
I mean, in and of itself, it's just good that these movies have their own flavors now, right? Like the Batman's coming out next year. That feels very different from Suicide Squad. And I would say that if you look, I remember when Suicide Squad trailer came out, it just felt like an extension of that sort of Snyder aesthetic, even if it was a totally different director. So I just like that we're going back to having our individual flavors. And like you said, we're not worried about how this connects, but if they do end up connecting later on, which I don't anticipate it, but if they do, they did the legwork of making you give a shit about the characters first before just saying, care about a team up movie.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want everything. Here's what really gets me, man. Every time something is a success, somebody wants to start a trend. Somebody wants to cash in on that. And nah, man, you know, if the opportunity comes up to do it, then fine, do it. But let's not force anything. Let's not have all these new cuts. Let's not have all these, you know, not everything has to be wacky if this is if the Suicide Squad is a success. Not everything has to be dark if the Batman is a success. Let directors come in and do a project that fits the tone of the character and bring in the right director for the sensibilities of the project. That's how you fucking do it, man, and that's what's proven to work. You want to go back and start doing this, let's make all this stuff fit together and ride this wave of whatever is successful bullshit, you go right ahead and shoot yourself in the other foot and see how that works.